I enjoyed the department and I liked the people that I worked for. But once all the COVID stuff kicked off early on, like, and I mean, as a business owner too, you know, I shut my gym down because like the Black Plague was coming, right? And then I started to see things that just didn't make sense, you know, and very early on, the like certain people were deemed essential and other people weren't. And I started to think about like, okay, well, why would this business be deemed essential and this business isn't? And I remember one of the deciding factors for me was the tags on my truck expired. And I was like, okay, my gym can't be open, but I bet I can go get tags for my truck because that money goes to the government, right? So I call the licensing place. I say, are you guys open for tag renewal? Yeah, we've been deemed essential. I was like, okay, so a little green sticker on my truck is worth risking your life for. But for other people that are cutting hair or teaching CrossFit, that's not essential.
Or providing for their family.
And it started to not make sense. And I think anyone that fucking just detached emotionally and looked at what was happening from an emotionally detached position could see things weren't making sense.
Yeah, it was crystal clear.
Crystal clear, man. And that's what I used to say to people. I was like, dude, I'm a product of fucking public education and a knuckle-dragging ranger. And I could see this for what it was. So how are all these people being fucking just blinded and buying all this stuff, hook, line, and sinker? And so as I continued to watch what was occurring, it became clear that this elite class that was pushing this agenda, and they were using us as uniformed law enforcement as their henchmen. Mm-hmm. And it was appalling to me. And every day in the lunchroom, when we're watching this shit on TV, every cop in the lunchroom is disgusted. You know, I remember like yesterday sitting in the lunchroom watching that guy be chased on a paddleboard off of Malibu. You had 2 police boats chasing a dude on a paddleboard for defying the lockdown.
By himself
on the fucking ocean.
Yeah.
And like, what are we doing? And that was like, there was a series of things that I was observing that were just pushing me closer and closer to like, what are we fucking doing? And my concern was, if the public looks at us as the government henchmen, what that's going to do is that's going to put the divide between the public trust and the profession of law enforcement. It's going to make that that gap get wider and wider until it's like a fucking canyon. Mm-hmm. And there's always an ebb and flow to the relationship between the public and the profession of law enforcement. And, you know, you got to remember this was before George Floyd too. So cops weren't the enemy right now. But I felt like we were going to make ourselves the enemy by behaving like this. And like, dude, I'm a fucking police officer. I'm in uniform all day. I don't want everybody looking at cops thinking they're fucking pieces of shit, right? And then I saw cops start to do undercover operations to bust people that were defying the lockdowns. And one of those was they did a undercover sting to bust these ladies somewhere here in Texas for painting nails. And I was like, okay, someone in uniform has to speak out against this. And bro, it wasn't like something that I'd thought about or something that I would like organize. I literally, it's just like
off the cuff.
Like, guys, listen. And the message in my video, and for people that haven't seen it, it's still all over fucking YouTube and everywhere. But the message wasn't about the validity of COVID. Now, I had my own opinions on COVID, but I knew if I said I think COVID's bullshit, that the message, 50% of the people won't receive the message right out of the gates. So I literally said that. I said, guys, this message isn't about how dangerous COVID is or COVID isn't. This message is about police officers doing things that they do not have the constitutional authority to do. I said, it doesn't matter if your governor says to do otherwise. It doesn't matter if your mayor says to do otherwise. That's not how this profession works. And a mayor can't just arbitrarily decide if you go to the park, you're getting arrested. All right. Laws have to be legislated. Like when I arrest someone, I literally, there's a little block that says like, you know, what RCW was violated. And you have to fucking write that out. Then you also have to write out your probable cause statement saying, this is why I believe this person broke this law. It's very clear on how you enforce the law as a police officer. this was just a gray area where all of these fucking governors and mayors were just going out there telling people what to do, and all the cops were out there doing it. And it didn't make any sense to me. We don't have the authority to do that. So why are you doing it? And then the other side of it is, if you had to pick a side on who you were going to stand with, would it be fucking Mayor Jenny Durkin, or would it be the small business owners in Seattle? Like, I don't understand why all these cops were just doing what they were told. But ultimately, it comes down to fear, because they didn't have the courage to say no. And it's like, well, I got kids back home, and I might lose my job. I got a mortgage. It's like, I don't give a fuck if you have a mortgage. Like, this person's constitutional rights don't get trampled on or not trampled on based on the amount of debt that you hold as an individual. But that's what it became.
Yeah.
And everybody was being controlled through fear. Man, if police are being controlled through fear, like, we're the first line of defense. Mm-hmm. And so I just articulated all of that. And I said, you guys are going to turn the public against the profession if you continue to act this way. And so the video went, I mean, bro, I had 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Dude, it went nuts.
And man. I was a jiu-jitsu guy. That was my life. I did jiu-jitsu and I sat in ice water. You can go back to my Instagram pre-2020 and that's all the posts are, jiu-jitsu and ice water.
Yeah.
And
so you were Wim Hofen before it was really cool.
Yeah, before it was cool. Yeah. I had a chest freezer that I fucking sealed up and had on my back patio. But man, that thing just went nuts. Hundreds of millions of views. And again, to go back to Andy Frisella, he was one of the first people to reach out to me. He's like, you think how I think. I want you aboard the First Forum team. That's awesome. And I'm just like, what is going on right now? You know? But my commander called me and he said, Greg, I liked your video. Everything you said was fucking awesome. This department has your back. You know that. We support everything you said. And to me, and I even said in the video, I said, luckily I work for a department that's ran by good people and they're not asking me to go out there and do this. But if you are part of a department that's going out there and asking you to do that, you are obligated to refuse those orders. And if it costs you your job, so be it. Because just like I said, your debt doesn't supersede people's constitutional rights. And then the same commander called me back like an hour later and I was like, hey, Greg.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah. And I was like, what's up, sir? He goes, listen, man, I've been directed to tell you. Yeah, exactly. I've been directed to tell you, you got to pull that video down. I said, what are you talking about? I said, an hour ago, it was all good. He goes, yeah, but we just checked it. It's over, I think he said like over 500,000 views. And I was told that you have to pull the plug on this thing. And I said, sir, if you remember of what I said in the video, I literally said, you have to be willing to lose your job as a police officer to stand up and be on the side of right. And I said, right now, I think I'm on the side of right. And if I pull that down because you're telling me to, I'm literally going against what I just said. I said, everybody that holds respect for me will be fucking lost. I said, I'd rather fucking get fired and starve to death than pull that video down.
Yeah.
You know?
Was he like,
bro, he was like, Greg, dude.
You're being crazy.
Seriously, man. And that's what he said to me. He goes, bro, listen, I checked YouTube. It's all over YouTube already. He goes, I checked Twitter. It's all over Twitter already. He goes, you don't even have a Twitter. People have ripped this thing and it's everywhere. He goes, so you pull it down from your Instagram. The video's not going to disappear. It's still going to be all over the internet. Okay. Your message is still going to be out there. It's still going to be received, but it's going to show that you complied with this order.
Fuck you.
And I said, bro, that's where we're different.
Yeah. Fuck no.
That's where I'm different, man. Yeah. I'd rather die.
Yeah.
And I would, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way I'm pulling that down.
And I want to, since I'm going to turn the tables and become the interviewer
Please
again,
do.
Right? Something that I think in our youth, when we were surrounded by violence and the potential of losing our life was something that was very real and very tangible. And I think guys like us came to accept that like our demise is just part of what we do.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
And you kind of, and this isn't like tough guy beating your chest stuff. It's just, you accept that life is finite and you accept that this ride that we're on is coming to an end.
No, I agree. And I think there's like almost an overwhelming freedom.
That's what I was just going to say.
That's derived from that.
It sounds kind of morbid, but it also
sets you free.
It sets you fucking free.
Yeah.
And I've been able to walk, like people said the same thing to me, bro, you're leaving the fucking U.S. Marshals. Yeah, I don't care, man.
Yeah.
I'll figure out what's next. And then it was the same thing with this. It's like, I'll fucking starve to death
Yeah.
before I'll rescind my words because another man is telling me to.
Well, the thing that, not to blow our own horns, I mean, it's not exclusive to special operations guys, but the mentality that in a positive way runs rampant within the soft community and higher levels of law enforcement and even federal agencies, what have you, is that when you're in a job, that the job itself dictates that you have to be able to overcome adversity and change shit on the fly and adapt and overcome and do things that are unconventional and figure out a way around really serious and significant problems. That too, it sets you up to basically be in a position to be like, I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
100%.
Because I'll tell you what, like, I'm not going to starve. Like, you can fire me, but I'll figure out a way to fucking survive.
That's it. And then you can't, if you don't hold that fear, if you're not a fearful person.
Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck what you do.
Like, you can't control me with the fear.
Yeah, I will figure out a way to thrive. Not just survive, but to fucking win.
And it's funny too, because when my commander called me, it was the video was made, I think it was a Tuesday, and then I was off work. I didn't go back to work the next day because it was my day off. So when my commander called me the second time, me and my wife were actually at a coffee stand getting coffee, and I put it on speaker so she could hear. And he's like, Greg, I need you to pull the video down. And she looks over at me and she goes, I already know where this is going. And I said, babe, you know me and I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And she goes, I know you don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, my wife's badass. Because so many wives would be like, what are we going to do? You're not going to have a job, and blah, blah, blah.
Well, to me, that's where, not to interrupt, but like that's where the crux of your relationship, existing or not, hinges on, dude, do you trust me to be the provider and protector of this family?
Yep.
Then don't fucking worry about it.
Don't fucking worry about it. And then the universe does what the universe does. Yeah. And, bro, we had $500,000 in a GoFundMe in about 48 hours.
Dude, that is awesome.
And it was like, oh fuck, dude.
Now what?
And that's what I told Jenny. I said, like, man, I knew I needed to take a stand, but I didn't know that taking that stand would resonate with so many Americans.